I spent the past week watching solo leveling in the gym. I'll recap the show and share my thoughts and my results. Now, I'll need to give a flashback so you understand how I thought of doing this. I usually hate cardio. I'll do my weights, slack on the treadmill for a maximum of 20 minutes. That's me being generous, honestly. But recently, I saw videos of people starting a new show in the gym and only watching it there, and I thought that I had to give it a shot. For the previous weeks, I had been pretty consistent with the gym, going 3 to 4 times a week, but after starting this challenge, you better believe that changed. How come I decided I wanted to watch solo leveling of all shows? Well, my friends who watch anime had been hyping it up for some time, and it was long overdue, so I thought I had to give it a shot since it was so short as well. And when I tell you I was not ready, I meant it. Last time an anime made such a huge impression on me was when I started watching Attack on Titan, which, mind you, is among my favorite anime of all time. Now, I know I'm far too late into the party, but please don't blame me for it. I got some thoughts that I need to share. I had just completed a full body workout, and you bet your head I was pushing those bike pedals even faster with every fighting scene. Every battle, every power up, and every level up, even the punishment where the mega centipede was chasing him, had my adrenaline pumping high and cycling like I got an endless tank of oxygen in my lungs, which is rich coming from me and my asthma that got me coughing out my innards after every workout. Regardless, let's recap the show. The first episode was perfectly made to hook us in. The world building starts immediately, and soon after, the protagonist Son Jin-Woo's character is introduced, and he is described as the weakest hunter of all mankind within E rank. And after this, we get a demonstration of why he's called that when they get into the dungeon and a mere goblin overpowers him. He gets aided by Juhi, who's a B rank healer. The raid team advances to a gate within the dungeon, thinking that they could earn more. They end up regretting it deeply, at least those who were able to feel regret before being killed off by the Dai team. The next episode strings us along into Jinwoo's thought process in surviving this gate where they need to obey the commandments in order to survive. They eventually manage to open the gates with his guidance, but they end up leaving him there to die, which relates to the title of If I Had One More Chance. The episode ends with a notification asking if he accepts to become a player and him accepting it. Moving into the next episode, we see him waking up fully healed and seeing all these weird notifications popping up. He figures out with the help of his sister that it's like a game. He ignores the tasks of the day, which include exercising, which leads him to getting a penalty of being chased by a fat, nasty centipede that's probably even deadly if it got its poisoned teeth on Jinwoo. He survives the punishment and gets back to the real world and starts taking the tasks seriously. So he gets rewarded with a key to a dungeon. He enters it alone and is met by his previous nemesis, the pesky goblins. He manages to beat them this time, but it wasn't without hesitation and struggle. A lot, if I might add. In the next episode, he beats a steel-fanged wolf within the same dungeon, and he notices how he feels so much lighter, faster, and stronger. He even grows mentally too, overcoming his chronic intimidation. He then faces a much stronger, huge venom-fanged snake that he struggles a lot in defeating. But soon enough, he realizes that despite its hard exterior, it had nothing on his new level of strength. When he exits the dungeon as a champion for the first time, he sees a raid party struggling to defeat a C-ranked golem. He sees Juhi, who has been called as an aide to the hunters, and notices that she is still shaken up by the previous events. He launches his weapon at the golem with all his might, and it crumbles to pebbles. But he had no idea Juhi ended up seeing all that. I found it hard at this point to figure Jinwoo out. He had his moments of complete composure, followed by moments of crippling weakness that held him back. In the end, I got the impression that he is someone who's very adaptive to the situation he's in. When his team had taken a step back in absolute fear, he took charge in leading and instructing them on how to deal with the horror at their hands. At least those who had any left, that is. In the following episode, he gets discharged from the hospital and goes back home where his sister notices that his build has changed. He gets offered to join a party where all he needs to do is participate and carry the baggage with Hwang Dong-suk's squad. Another hunter to join him is Jinwoo, a first-timer D-rank hunter. Soon enough, they realize they were scammed by Dong-suk's squad. In the next episode, Jinwoo beats the boss of the dungeon relatively easily and gets the task to eliminate the enemies. which essentially meant that he had to kill the rest of the squad. Jin-Woo starts fearing Jinwoo and suspects him of being a rank faker, but he reassures him that his secret is safe with him. Shortly after, Jinwoo makes Jinwoo an offer to form a party of their own, which Jinwoo declines. He proceeds with his tasks and keeps up the level ups and power ups, up until he enters another quest dungeon. There, he struggles far more to beat the opponents, but after succeeding, he decides to retreat before going into the castle where the elixir of life can be acquired, with the promise of coming back soon. After all of that excitement, an annoying episode came, and it was the recap episode of 7.5, which fooled me to watch at least a fourth of it before realizing that it was essentially just a recap of everything that had happened so far. But after skipping to the next episode, we see that Jinwoo accepts Jinwoo's offer with the terms that only the two of them can enter the dungeons, so no one will know of his powers. Jinwoo continues his training until he joins a raid party with 4 hunters from the double dungeon raid, along with Kang Tae-shik, who would be overseeing 3 prisoners who joined the raid in order to shorten their sentence. Once inside, Jinwoo was able to sense the location of the boss, so the party was divided in 3. The prisoners with the overseer into one path of the cave, 2 of the double dungeon hunters into the second, and Jinwoo, Ju-hee, and Mr. Song into the third, where the boss was. We get a flashback of a father asking Tae-shik to avenge his daughter who had been assaulted by the prisoners. So Tae-shik kills them, but it turns out he accepted the request because he enjoys killing humans. He then gets caught by the hunters in the second path of the cave, who he also kills. Jinwoo and his group head there, and Mr. Song ends up damn near death too. Jinwoo gets commanded by the system to kill Tae-shik, which he easily does, which leads to Mr. Song and Ju-hee finding out about his strength. Jinwoo and Jinwoo start their C-rank dungeon raid parties and easily clear a few each day. Jinwoo gets stalked by a hunter recruiter who suspects Jinwoo of having a reawakening, so Jinwoo threatens him in order to keep his mouth shut, and even has him buying the rights to a few overpriced dungeons and making a profit. Jinwoo enters another dungeon where he has his toughest battle yet. He manages to clear a few opponents up until he is up against Ygritte, who he struggles the most to defeat. Once he does manage to defeat Ygritte, he gets swamped by opponents and gets so fatigued that he gets close to being defeated. As luck has it, he was sent to a penalty quest just as the finishing blow was about to be dealt to him. He manages to squeeze the life out of the poison-toothed, poison-looking centipedes, leading him to leveling up and rejuvenating his fatigue and health. When he returns to the dungeon again, he absolutely overpowers the opponents with his wit and gets a job change and becomes a Shadow Monarch, which gives him the ability of shadow extraction where he can command the dead with a command word. And the coolest part was that I just knew that the coolest thing would be to just say rise. And he literally chose a rise seconds after my guess. I was so hyped up and excited, I was pedaling so fast on the bike that it could easily charge the entire gem's electricity. There were some parts that I felt sus about. For example, his appearance changed very drastically once he started leveling up. Even his face shape and hair length was different. I haven't really done my research, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I would guess that even the voice actor was changed. If not, then he is really skilled in changing the perception we have of the character. Jinwoo's demeanor changed a lot too, and it felt like a very fast-paced growth. As exciting as it was, it did not feel that realistic, especially considering that he killed humans and barely felt any remorse for it. But all of this is just me nitpicking. The show was amazing and I enjoyed it a lot. As for my results, I had to be extremely disciplined to actually do this. If I didn't have any other plans within the day, I could easily have watched the whole thing in one workout session, all in one day. So I promised myself that I can only watch it in the gym, and guess what? I ended up on a cardio machine every single day for 6 days straight, watching the show to the end. On some days, I went just to do cardio for over an hour, just to watch as many episodes as I could. So I would definitely recommend this to anyone who dislikes cardio like me. Not only will you start enjoying it, you'll also end up at the gym more often than ever and putting in far more effort. Which hype anime should I watch next while doing cardio so I don't stop this golden streak?